This is the Welcome to Procorem Part 2 tutorial. If you've already completed the steps shown in the Welcome to Procorem Part 1 tutorial, then you have already created and accessed your account. So for this tutorial, we're going to jump right in and look at a specific work center. So I'm going to start here on the login screen. Again, the URL that I am using is the test environment, so it has UAT at the beginning. The URL that you'll be using to log into your properties work centers will look a little bit different. It won't have UAT at the beginning. So when I first log in, it takes me to the home screen of the account. I'm going to click into Happy Living Villas Work Center. If you're on several work centers and the one you're wanting to access isn't one listed because it wasn't recently visited, you can click View All Work Centers, or you can use the search box and type in the property's name or the property's Procorem number, which is usually a number that begins with 6. So like I said, I'm going to access Happy Living Villas. So when it takes me into the work center, I have lots of different areas and features. I will say that my permission settings will, they're a little bit different than what yours will be. So I may have some areas on my screen that you do not. For example, this create folder and this actions drop down may not be available on yours, just the green upload files. Also over here on the left, the work center settings may not show on yours. So there may be some slight differences, but the overall look will be very similar. So when you first look at the work center, you can see all of the users that are on the work center here on the right side. Several of them will be KHRC staff, and then also maybe the ownership point of contact and then anyone from the management company. So the users are added by KHRC, and we just, get an emailed request or a post is made by someone else who's already on the work center, providing the first and last name of the person and then their email address. And then we would add the person. So this add collaborator is only visible for KHRC staff as well. So when you first look at the main screen, the 3 folders are all going to be the same. If you're on multiple work centers because you have multiple properties that you manage or that you own, they're going to look the same when you go from one work center to the next. So the setup is similar for each. So on the main screen, the 3 folders are the allocation folder, the compliance folder, and financials. So I'm going to jump right into the folders because that's the files. So we're going to kind of bounce back and forth between over here and then how it connects to what is on the left side. So the allocation folder is going to hold just that, documents that are related to the allocation process. So the 8609s will be in here. So you can see for this property, it's Happy Living Villas. The number is 60945. This is the date and then the document name. Also, the review sheet is in here. And you'll note that these documents are PDFs. So I'm going to stop right here for a minute before we get too far into the other files and folders. And I'm going to talk about the naming system that we require. So if you go to our website, under Resources, then Forms, LAHTC Compliance, Additional Resources and Tools, and click the Procorem Matrix. So this is the naming matrix. So stay with me on this because once you see it and then once we go through the folders within the work center, it'll make sense. So all of the documents that are uploaded should be converted to PDF unless it is a specific document that needs to remain in Excel format, which we do have a couple of those documents. But otherwise, everything should be uploaded as a PDF. When it's uploaded, the document should be named property name, ProLink or Procorem number. When it says today's date, that means the date that you're uploading it, and then the document name as listed on the matrix. So this is the matrix. So each of these red boxes represent a folder within the Work Center. So you can see as my cursor is going along, that is the folder and subfolders that we just clicked into. So we went into allocation. In this case, there's another folder called tax credit because there's also maybe home funds. However, the allocation folder then goes to the subfolder of 8609s, 8823s, funding documents, waivers, and requests. So I'm going to click back to the Work Center so you can see how that is a similar setup. So 8609s, Form 8823, funding documents, waivers, and requests. So like I said, the red boxes represent the folders. Then within those folders, this is the name the document should be titled. So in this case, the 8609 subfolder should have these documents in it. The 8823 folder would have anything pre-2015. Funding documents folder would contain these documents. So I'm going to back up so we can see. So the funding document is the Happy Living Villas Laura. So property name, Procorem number, date of the upload, document name based on the matrix. The matrix is several pages long because we have several folders. So when you click compliance, there's several folders within the compliance folder. When you come back to the matrix, compliance, and then all of those subfolders. And again, the bullet points are the various document names. So if you're ever needing to upload a document and you're not sure what it should be called or where it should go, this is your resource to figure out what folder does that document live in and how should it be named prior to uploading it. The reason behind the naming system is because when documents are uploaded, Procorem generates an email to all of the users on the Work Center. So for us to be able to see what that document name is, it will identify which staff person should enter the Work Center and download the document to respond or to review it. So if documents are just being uploaded and they're not being named a certain way or put in a certain folder, they're going to get lost. Okay, let's get back to the Work Center overview. Okay, so within the files are the different folders and subfolders. Like I said, each Work Center is going to have this same folder setup. Each year, folders are added to capture the following year's annual report, financials, if an inspection is required, and so forth. So that is kind of the files and folder overview. The next feature is the post feature. So when you click post, you can create a post here. We always recommend addressing your post to someone. So for example, if you had a recent physical inspection and you have a question specific to the physical inspection, if you remember which inspector came to your property, you'll want to start your post, addressed to that person. If you have a specific compliance officer that you know has been working with you to get your annual report in, you'll want to, send the post directed to that person. So right here, you'll just type in whatever you have to ask or whatever your comment is, and then just hit create post. And then the post will come down here so you can see the history. And then it will also trigger an email to be sent to the users on the Work Center. So you can scroll through the post feature and see a history of all the posts that have been made. The tasks feature, when you click here, there's different task groupings. So in this Work Center, there's a couple of tasks that have been assigned. A couple of things I want you to look at. So first of all, they're put into categories by their group. So in this case, there's an annual report task, and it's past due. So this annual report has been assigned to John Doe. This task has been assigned to Katie Whitehead. So you always want to make sure that you're looking at who the task is assigned to, because KHRC uses what we call a task flow. So what that means is when John Doe completes the annual report process and then comes in here and marks this task finished, what's going to happen is it's going to trigger this task assigned to Katie Whitehead to review the annual report. So you can also see here it says pending prior task completion. So it's tied to this task. So to mark this task off, John Doe would click in here and hit finished. Are you sure you want to finish this task? So I would hit yes. Now, you would only finish a task if you have actually completed it. So if you have uploaded the response documents or submitted the tenant data as requested, the things that are related to the task. So then you would hit OK, and it would say task has been finished successfully. And then when you go back to the task screen, that task is now gone. The only one left for annual reports is here assigned to Katie Whitehead. Now, if you would like to look at completed tasks, you can click Show Completed, and it's going to show that history of when it was completed. Okay, so for the file inspection, let's look at this task. It has a property's response to the 60-day notice is due. So if we click into this, and we're not really sure what that is or where to find it, you would find it through the Files folder, and you'd look for Compliance, look in Inspections, and you could find it that route. However, if you just want to go directly to it through the task, you can click right here because this task has been linked to that file. So if you want to click here, it shows up right here, takes you here, and then you can download it. And when you download it, if you're using Chrome, it's going to be right here. Okay? So go back to the tasks. It's kind of the overview of the tasks screen. The calendar is going to show any tasks that you have coming due. So September doesn't have any. October is showing one. File inspection response due December 1st. So that calendar just kind of gives you an overview of the tasks. The activity is just that. Anything that's happened in the Work Center is captured here. So I downloaded a version of that file. I finished a task here. I posted here. So you can kind of review activity and who's done what in this feed. Like I said, the Work Center settings, I don't believe is something that your permission settings will even allow you to see. Possibly the same with links. I'm not sure. We don't really utilize linked work centers as of yet. And the tenant event portal is something that's part of the annual report submission. And I'm going to do a separate tutorial that covers the tenant event portal and entering tenant events. And then also if you want to import an XML file and kind of how all of that looks. So that'll be a completely separate tutorial. So one other thing I also want to make note of, when you click into folders and you want to go back, you don't always have to hit up a level. You can click up here and it'll take you back. So I'm going to go into the compliance folder and click inspections, files inspections. Okay, so this folder has a file inspection notification letter. It has a file inspection selected unit rent roll. So those were the files that were picked to be reviewed, and they were uploaded here by the property owner or property management agent. And then KHRC reviewed them and issued a 60-day notice. So you're to the point that you have all your documentation, your proof of corrections, and you want to upload that. So to do that, you would just hit upload files. You can drag and drop it from wherever you have it saved, or you can hit choose file. It's not necessary to change the drop down in the status or the type. That's not used for anything and it's not looked at by KHRC. It's also not necessary to put anything in the description. If you wish to add a comment, you may. When you add a comment, the email that's sent notifying us of the upload will also include that comment. So if there's anything you want to indicate there, you can. And then you just hit upload. One of the other features that you can take a look at, let me get into a different folder. So here is a physical inspection, and it's the whole start to finish process. So notification letter, rent roll, the square footage documentation, the EHS deficiency report that was issued first, then the property's response to the EHS deficiency, physical inspection deficiency report, 60-day notice response, and then the final response. So it kind of gives you the list of how, those order of events. So this is a really great example to show the importance of that document naming system that we have in place. So anybody that goes into the Work Center and clicks around, if they really look at how the document is named, then they can really see exactly what it is and how, that order of events and how those documents were uploaded. Okay, I think that's all I have for today. Like I said, I will be also doing a separate tutorial that covers the tenant event portal and entering those tenant events to capture all of that data. So if you are looking for some information about that, please watch for that tutorial. Thanks.